This is the answer, and this is the solution to every problem. All the masters know this, and here's the irony. You don't practice this, and then you get to where you're good, and then you stop practicing it. If you notice, all the people that we consider to be masters, it's a progressive thing. Once they become on a level that others will call them a master, those people practice this even more. Why? Because they know this is all there is. This is the answer in the solution to feeling distraught and discontent. This is how one feels peace. If we keep our attention, okay, we're going to get into this, what this actually means, because it's very abstract and very subjective and very personal. But when we use the word God or divine, when we keep our attention on that, that is the only thing that's going to, you can say, destroy these causal seeds of habits and addictions and unhappiness, etc. It's the only thing that's going to destroy that or burn those seeds up. When those seeds are burned up, automatically a greater sense of serenity, this nice stirred up feeling of life force inside, you can call that an orgasm also. That's the only way that can happen, is when these seeds have been sufficiently dissolved. But here's the other thing. There's always something more to dissolve. But you get to where you're good. You get to where you don't get into some desperate state of despair to where you're like, I got to call somebody, or you don't start panicking. Like the mind and the emotions can't take you over like that anymore. You see? So how do you do that though? There's no technique. I didn't finish that thought. When we say we got to keep our attention on God, when I say that's the only solution, I mean that that's the only solution. There's no other technique or class or course or getting darshan from a guru. None of that's going to do it. Those things can be assistive. They're assistive measures. We're going to talk about that too. But the real deal is that you have to develop and allowed to be downloaded and revealed to you what your personal relationship with the divine is. Now, we can talk non-dual and say there's no relationship, there's only the divine and all that. Okay, if that works for you, good. But I can tell you for sure that there's a play of a personal individual self that is always connecting with the source. Can't get away from that. So we're talking more on that level, on practical level. Because if you already think that there's only the divine and there's no you, well then there's nothing to say, right? And here's the thing. If people really knew that, they don't say that. All right. And this is the subject that we want to focus on more in satsang. I've already wrote a paragraph on my website and saying that like we can't discuss problems on the level of the problem. Like you just can't do it because it's not helpful. I'm here to be helpful. So what does it mean you develop a relationship, you can say, with your own true self or highest self or God essence? If you have something that already works for you, good, then you keep doing that. At the same time, you be flexible because that might change in the future. You might be more the Advaita type right now, where something just recognizes, say, okay, yeah, I can see that there's this formless consciousness that I am, and that it's somehow housed in these three layers of bodies that I'm wearing: mind, emotions, physical body. But I see that there's just this presence, you can call it that. And so, yeah, I just keep putting my attention on that. That's cool. Do that. Later, you might feel also to pray. Don't get too rigid or stuck on anything. That includes religions, spiritual practices, what have you. You be open to how, this is the how, to how the universe is guiding you to connect with it, because it's super personal and individual. So how do you do that? If If you already have a practice that works, you keep doing it and going deeper into it. Watch less videos on YouTube and do more of the practice. I've said before, it's good to find one person, two at the most, and instead of just scrolling and just listening and just more, because the mind gets addicted to all this so-called knowledge, information. It's like you stuff your mouth full of a big plate of food, but you can't swallow it. You can't assimilate it. You just keep, what's more? What's more? What's the next technique? It's like, man, if you find somebody you connect with that you feel is satisfying you, just listen to them. It's like if you have a good spouse, are you going to keep shopping for another spouse? Well, I don't know. Maybe this spouse won't work out. I got to see what's available. Or you get a nice car. Are you going to keep going around the car lots looking at cars? No, you're satisfied. So be careful. I'm making a video about that, I think. Don't be a spiritual junkie. You don't keep just trying to get more. You take what you're learning, what you're hearing, and then you sit and you assimilate that. You apply that to your life. And you sit with it, you contemplate it, and then you let downloads come. This is what you do. So, if you're not sure how to connect with the source, you sit somewhere quiet, sense deprivation, you don't want a bunch of noise. You just sit somewhere quiet, go walk in the woods, or in your room, or sit in the closet. Just sit somewhere quiet. And you be willing and open to how the universe wants to speak to you and through you to tell you how to connect with it. This is how you get the data, the download on how to keep your attention on God. God has to tell you how to keep your attention on him. It, her. Oh man, there's a spider web. All right. Sorry. So you have to you have to be willing and quiet and patient. You gotta be patient. Can't just sit, okay, I'm sitting for 5 minutes. God, show me how to connect with you. It didn't work. Oh, I'm gonna go back to YouTube. Gotta find some technique. You can't do that. You gotta go through the process of being willing and open to connect with God. That's only gonna come if you genuinely have a desire to connect with God. I like what Yogananda said. He's like one of my favorite teachers. He said, be like the crying baby when the mom keeps giving the baby a bunch of toys to play with and the baby keeps throwing them out. Like, I don't want that. I want you, Mom. So you have to be like that. When something inside you, because you can't fake this to the universe. It knows your motives and your subconscious agenda, everything. When your desire to connect with the source is authentic, then the source might break off some tidbits of downloads to you so that to show you how to connect with it. And then you have to listen to that. This is the answer on how do I connect, or how do I put my attention on the source or God. You ask how to do it, and then you follow the directions that you get. But you have to discern the difference between when you're getting an authentic spiritual download versus when the mind is telling you how to connect. If you don't know how to do that, again, you ask, God, show me, give me because some people ask, like, what's intuition mean? The mind's asking what intuition means. You can't answer the mind. There's no answer to tell you what intuition, the mind, like, how are you going to answer that? It's like, also when people say, prove to me when you die that you continue. It's impossible. You can't. How are you going to prove that? These revelations, they come. They come when they come. Be open to it and they'll come. So you be willing to connect to this power, and then that's it. That's it. Patience is huge here. That's actually what the real definition of dark night of the soul is, that a being feels deeply connected with the source, but then all of a sudden he seems to lose it. It's like, whoa, what happened? That happened to Jesus. And Jesus said, God, why did you forsake me? You see? It's like, well, I was in this nice felt like I was in this nice spiritual cocoon with the source, and then all of a sudden it left. Well, yeah, understandable. Look at his situation. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's above. There's a roadblock. So I'm going to make a U-turn. There's nobody above being challenged on a human level. I don't care who it is or who. No. The mind likes to reminisce about beings who like aren't here anymore and just have books, because then the mind can assign all kinds of magical qualities to this. Oh man, he could just do anything, never affected by anything. Yeah, it's just not like that. If they were here right now, and if you spent time with them, you'd see their human nature also. But the dark night of the soul is like that. It's teaching patience on the deepest level. So patience is a big deal. Something has to keep faith. Even though you're being open and you're surrendering as best as you can and you want the download and how to connect with the source, but you don't seem to be getting it, you have faith that's going to be revealed to you, because it will. The masters always say that, but that's hard to believe when the mind's telling you the opposite, when your emotions are not feeling connected. So then the mind and the emotions, they double team you. Man, this ain't going to work for me. Works for other people, but not for me. Like, it never is going to work. And then you believe that. So don't do the best you can to not believe that. Sometimes you're going to believe it. Remember, I'm a big proponent of holding space for yourself. Now, those that have watched my videos know I don't discount the practical human level. That's why I made that other channel, or a couple channels. The Beyond the Alchemy, I talk about semen retention, preserving your sexual energy, and also transcending shadows. It deals with your lifestyle habits. You need healthy lifestyle habits because that helps balance your life force and gives you life force. If you're doing a bunch of things that's where it just sucks your life force, make a list. Make a list of things you do that give you life force and things that you do that don't give you life force. I assume you know what that means. You can just feel it. You're in a situation and it kind of uplifts you versus the opposite. Stop doing the things that bring you down. Although, because you're losing your spiritual power to do this, you can say, discipline that I'm sharing, which is, how do I connect with the source? How do I be open to hearing the downloads? You can't get the downloads if there's no capacity to receive the downloads. You need life force in order to get the downloads. In sexual energy, the Ojus is a huge, conducive spiritual container for getting the downloads. That's why I'm saying, like, you know, don't lose your sexual energy and don't hang out with people and in environments that suck your energy. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, you can go to satsangs, go to 12-step programs if you feel, if you need help, you know, with a certain addiction. Go to churches if you like a certain church, a more open church, unity church, you know, I don't know, Vedanta church. If you're in California, you can go to SRF temples, Course in Miracles. These are all good. I went to those things like all the time in my 20s because it helps keep the vibration up, you know. But this practice I'm sharing, see, I don't have a technique, as a lot of you know. And some keep asking me, like, what's the technique? I don't have a certain meditation technique because it's all good. That's why I say keep your attention on God. However form that takes, whether it's through meditation or bhakti or worship or prayer or japa or mantra or all the above, do it. That's all that matters, is that you find a way, you find your way to connect with the source. And you do it as often as you can do it. You do it if you're in the middle of a street fight, or do it if you're arguing with your girlfriend or boyfriend. You somehow check in and recognize this presence. That's more powerful than if you just do a normal, like, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening meditation, but the rest of your day you're in your mind. So this is my practice. If you want to know what a practice is, although I don't consider it a practice, it's automatic. Something's always checking in as often as I can to recognize that, whoa, this is this whole thing, the woods and this body and this mouth that's speaking, this is like a virtual reality show, man. because I can sense there's something here that's formless in which this whole show is happening in. It's like if you go to a circus, you're in the stadium. Stadium's not the circus. Circus is the circus. It's the same thing. Our true self is like the stadium that this virtual reality program is housed in. You need to be aware of your cosmic stadium. Yeah, I'll leave you with that. So this is what we're going to start. I want to really focus on on this in our satsang groups. Then I have energy, like, okay, good, let's see. And then we check and see, where are you at? How are you struggling with this practice is what we want to see. Not how are you struggling, like, oh, my relationship broke up, I don't have any money. Yeah, that stuff changes, man. You'll get money, and then maybe you'll lose money, and then you'll get money, and you'll get into a relationship, and you'll lose it, and then you'll get another one. That stuff's always fluctuating. We don't want to focus so much on that. We want to focus on the core. Yeah, what's the core? That's what we're going to talk about. I'll see you.